You can create trusses in Home Designer Pro by using the Roof Truss and the Floor Ceiling Truss tools. Like most objects in Home Designer, you can configure default settings for trusses by going to the Default Settings dialog, accessing the Framing Defaults, and going to the Trusses panel. These defaults can be overridden for any selected group of trusses using the Truss Specification dialog after the trusses are built. The program uses these values to model trusses for graphic representation only. Keep in mind that Home Designer does not engineer trusses. Always consult an engineer or truss company to have your trusses professionally designed. To create a roof truss, you must first build a roof and have a ceiling present. The roof truss will be created between the roof planes and the ceiling planes because they define its shape. Let's draw roof trusses on this structure that already has its roof and ceilings created. The roof has been framed automatically, so there are no trusses. The walls and ceilings are also set to frame automatically. I'll delete all the framing at once by going to the Delete Objects dialog, setting the appropriate scope, and checking to delete floor, ceiling framing, roof framing, and wall framing. We'll conveniently allow automatic framing feature to be turned off for floor, ceiling framing, roof framing, and wall framing. I'll select the Roof Truss tool and click when I see the snap on the wall corner and drag toward the other side. Notice the truss immediately snaps into position. We'll display the layer to see the truss in plan view. Notice that the truss is transparent and that sometimes makes it harder to see, so I'll open it and assign a solid fill style. If you like this better, you can go to Defaults under CAD and check Fill New Framing Members, so all new framing will have the solid fill. Once I have the first truss drawn, I can use the Transform Replicate tool to copy this truss across this 34-foot roof. I'll select this first truss and click the Transform Replicate tool. I'll overestimate and make 18 copies, and I'll move them 24 inches apart. The warning means that there's an extra truss or two beyond the end of the roof and ceiling. We'll zoom in and delete this extra truss. The next truss may need adjustment. We could wheel in close and check, and the solid fill makes it easy to see its position. We want to make sure that it sits correctly at the outside of the wall framing. Since it is snapping to either side of the outside framing edge, I'll turn Grid Snaps off, keeping Object Snaps on, and it should now snap where we want. I'll select the end truss in the 3D view. Open it and make it a true end truss, one with vertical webbing. And check Reduce Gable to drop the top truss cord for lookouts. I'll do the same for the truss at the end of the building. And here it's easier to see how the top cord has dropped in order to allow the lookouts. The final step is to build the roof framing. We'll build the wall framing too, and Home Designer will frame around the trusses, adding subfascia and lookouts to complete the job. Since trusses take the shape of the roof above and ceiling below, it's easy to draw scissor trusses or a variety of truss shapes by first drawing the desired roof and ceiling planes. The truss shape can also be edited in any 3D view or cross-section. The truss envelope edits similarly to a CAD polyline, and you can add breaks to the edges and modify it to assume any shape desired. Once you edit the shape, the Lock Truss Envelope checkbox, located here in the truss specification dialog, should be checked to prevent the truss from rebuilding to the shape designed by the roof and ceiling planes. When the shape is locked, you can also conveniently move the truss into another area with a different roof and ceiling configuration. To create a floor-ceiling truss, select the Floor-Ceiling Truss tool. If you are creating a floor truss, you must be one floor below the floor the truss is supporting. Here we will draw a floor truss for the first floor by going to the foundation floor and drawing the truss. The Floor-Ceiling Truss tool will create a truss between the ceiling of the current floor and the subfloor of the floor above. If there is no floor above, a ceiling truss will be created. To learn more about the many things you can do with trusses, refer to the chapter on trusses in the Home Designer Pro reference manual.